Hey everybody, just waiting for my friends to come on. Jump in the chat and let me know that you're here. Oh, Luke, what are you doing? Love it. We're ready to go camping. I don't know about you guys, but we're ready to go. We are so ready. Which reminds me, have you guys booked your trip in July? Do we know when we're going? Okay, I can't add you guys, Robert, so all right, I just sent the link again. Robert, hopefully it'll work. Bear with us. Technology's not our friend. At least it's not my friend. But I'm in the camper, so that's a good sign. Rocking our social distancing shirt tonight. I've social distanced this entire time. And I just had a guy actually ask me, I was walking the dogs, and he's like, "Where's your mask?" I was like, are you serious, bud? He's like, "Yeah, I'm just kidding." I was like, "Great. I'm walking the dogs in the neighborhood." Luke, I think the more important question is, when are you guys getting a new camper? Time for a new camper. I'll tell you what, your mom and dad, they ruined it for us. Or I should say Christy's mom and dad ruined it for us. With that slide out storage, it's all Rusty can talk about. And Montana just came out with, Luke, don't kid me. Did you really get a new camper? Don't be tricking me. Oh, wait, did you really just go camping? And if so, where did you go? I guess to the lake. You for sure sold that camper, Luke? Hey guys, how are you?
Hey.
Good. Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Now we are having a severe thunderstorm.
Oh.
So if the power goes out.
Well, we are prepared. I mean, we are campers. And if all else fails, we actually have the little tiny.
Nice.
Yeah, so hopefully nice. We don't need it, but
we'll see.
Just in case.
That, you know what?
That's laughing. It came across our phone, and we're like, of all the times to have a severe thunderstorm warning, we've lived here for a month. This is it. First time.
Nice. Okay, so let's tell everybody who you guys are, and obviously we found each other on Instagram, but
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about you.
I'm Robert. This is my wife Sherry, and we're in Central Florida, and we are newlyweds. We haven't even been married a year yet.
Wow.
Yeah, and we recently purchased this camper back in November, and Sherry and I had decided let's start a YouTube channel and document our camping trips. So that's what we are doing.
Nice. So what kind of camper are you in?
We're in a Grand Design Transcend Explorer 260 RB. It's a couple's coach.
Nice.
So it sleeps too.
It sleeps too. So
we listened, we watched. Yeah.
Some of our friends, so Luke Moore that's on here on the chat, he's our friend, and they have 4 children, and their camper does not just sleep too. So when we go camping with them, sometimes they're like, hey, can our kids sleep in your camper? But the greatest thing, honestly, with camping with them is that we've created some really good memories. And now I was just telling somebody last night, we don't have kids, our camper sleeps too. And but sure enough, like when it's donut breakfast morning, so I make homemade donuts out of biscuits.
Nice.
And when it's that morning, those kids are out at our campground, like sitting at our picnic table at 5 a.m.
We're probably like,
they are. They're just sitting there waiting for us to get up. And I get up early, like I'm 5 a.m., you know, and
awesome.
Sometimes I'll go for a run and I come back and they're like out just kind of, the best is I think he's 11 or 12. He gets up early as well, and he'll just like be creeping by on his bike. He's like looking. I was like, donuts? He's like, yes. So
we camp a lot with his family. And so there's lots of nieces and nephews. And so we've had that experience where I'm in here doing something and all of a sudden I look up, I have the screen door open and I look up and there's like a face looking at me. I'm like, you want to come in? Yeah. I'm like, okay, we have to text your mom and let your mom know where you're at. Because usually when we go, he's got 7 siblings.
Oh, wow.
So yeah. And then by the time you add spouses and children and
yeah, I've been camping in Florida my whole life. So as a young person, my parents always took us camping, and we camp in the Keys. We camp in Stone Mountain. We go up in Tennessee and Chattanooga and Myrtle Beach. So we really enjoy camping as a young family.
Now, how did you primarily camp? Did you have a camper or a tent or?
Originally, they started with a camper, and I think we had a thunderstorm flood once, and my mom said, I've had enough of that. So my dad bought a pop-up. Okay. And then that's what we stuck with growing up, a pop-up camper.
Can you imagine a pop-up with all those kids? There was 8 then. So could you imagine? Nope. Nope. Yeah.
So, I caught the camping bug. Our whole family camps.
Mine too.
So, yeah, and I always wanted to catch lobsters. So I got my scuba certification so I could go scuba diving, catching lobsters. And so I go every year for the lobster sports season, which we already scheduled to do this year.
That's awesome. How long have you been doing that?
Probably 20 years at least, consecutively.
Now, now I'm curious, I like lobster. Do you?
It's good.
Is it like, I hate to be stupid, but like, is it like catching fish and like you just catch your limit and then you can freeze and fillet and do all that?
Yeah, depending on the county you're in.
Okay.
It can dictate the limit that you're allowed to take each day. Mm-hmm. So in Monroe County, which is the Florida Keys, you can only take 6 lobsters per licensed person.
Is that per day?
Per day, yeah.
Okay.
Oh. I mean, that's not horrible. I mean, how long did you usually go for a trip?
We're going for 2 weeks this time.
Yeah, usually though we're a week to 10 days, but this time I'm trying to go 2 weeks.
We're doing 2 weeks.
Very cool. That's
that's like our big trip.
Yeah.
We're very similar to you guys. We do a lot of like weekends, long weekends, and we've done a lot of the leaving after work to get to the place. So then, we've done a few where he's been able to leave work before I have.
Mhm.
So he'll go, and then I usually show up a day or two later. Now that we live in the RV, that might be a little bit more difficult because he's taking the house literally with him. So yeah, we've got a couple of those challenges coming up actually in the next couple weeks.
So what what happened transition wise that you all are living in the RV?
At our church several years ago, I took a Dave Ramsey financial class
Uh-huh.
to become debt free. And then when I met Sherry, I said, "This is what I'm doing. Come to the class." So we took the class again. We helped co-lead the class, and she's totally on board. And we were, going to streamline everything in order to pay down debt. And she came up with an idea. Why don't we try to live in the camper? And I went, okay, you realize that you have to pay people to live on their property. You have to pay a campground or something like that. And then you have to store what you can't bring to the campground, which I have a lot because I used to do a lawn service business. So I have lawnmowers, weed whackers, tools, all kinds of things, welders, things like that. So I said, we got to pay to store that. So it might not work to our advantage to go to a campground where you can't store anything, and then you got to pay storage off site. Mm-hmm. So I was working with my brother-in-law, or let's say a family member, and I was working on his roof, and I said, "Hey, what do you think about me camping out in your yard for a while?" and something like that. And he's like, "Sure," And I had other people say, "Well, you can come to our place. They have several acres. You can come stay on our place for a little bit, and we could keep moving."
So we're mooch docking.
I heard somebody said that. I don't know if it was you guys or somebody else said that term, and I was like, "What is mooch docking?" And then I was like, "Oh, that's where you're literally living off somebody else."
Yeah. We've got beautiful view. We, right outside. They've got beautiful. They're out in the country, so we're just kind of back to the back.
And then every 2 weeks, we got to make a run to the nearest campground to dump our black tanks.
I mean,
2 weeks. That's pretty good.
That is actually really good. I had somebody reach out to me, right when all this stuff started, a firefighter friend of mine, and he knew a guy that they had been on a call and maybe they had been exposed and he didn't want to take it home to his family. And so he's trying to get a camper for his driveway. We were chit-chatting about it. And I was like, this is all well and good, and I'm happy to try to help you find one, but where are you going to dump?
Yep.
You're going to have to, you can't, as much as I would love to lend you my camper, we have a fifth wheel. Nobody can just take our camper. You got to have the right stuff. Yeah. And he's like, let me get back to you on where I can dump. And he figured it out, and we got him a camper, and he was good. But I thought, of all the things, you got to figure out where you're going to empty that thing at.
Yeah, that was one of our big things. It was that, or actually, I was looking online. There are some companies that can come to you.
Oh.
So we thought that was an option. But there's 2 campgrounds pretty close, and $10 you pay them, and you go in. No. And it's 5 miles down the road.
Oh, that's easy.
It's not even that. It's only about 3 miles.
Yeah.
It's really not far at all. And it's kind of a straight shot. We don't have to do a bunch of turns.
Yeah.
So it's nice and easy. We only lose a few items.
Few things shift and slide because, we're just going down the road. We don't really put that away.
Yeah. So truly, how is it living in the RV?
It's actually been really good. Surprising.
Awesome.
Surprising. Not knowing what to expect. It doesn't feel like we're camping. It feels like we're just living.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see. We haven't been camping yet. So we go camping next weekend. So it'll be curious to. It'll be funny to see how it is once we actually go camping. Is it going to feel like we're camping anymore? Or?
Well, we'll be camping with family, and we'll be at a spring.
Yeah.
So we'll be kayaking and floating downstream and all that. So
campfires.
Right.
You'll be with people, and that'll be something completely different, new.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as difficult as what I thought it was going to be. You've got to think about things a little bit more.
Yeah. We went from 2,000 square feet plus
Yeah.
down to 200 square feet
2,800 square feet.
Wow.
to 200 square feet.
And we did get rid of most things. We have our dressers, which we pare down all our clothes, but we have our dressers in an enclosed cargo trailer on the property.
Okay.
So we have like a huge walk-in closet. It's just in another building.
It's just over there.
So we just go like once a week. We go like out there about once a week and get the clothes that we're going to wear for the week because that'll fit in our closets in the actual RV. So, you think about that, when you're grocery shopping.
Yeah.
Where we have a nice size pantry, but we have a regular, I don't know, I think it's fairly large, but not anywhere near like a residential refrigerator size. So you can't,
We have an overflow fridge.
Costco, BJ's,
Yeah.
We have
Gotta be
another
careful.
little small overflow fridge.
Yeah.
So
Rusty and I will joke. We've always talked about buying land. And I was like, oh, we'll just park the camper, like while we'll build a house or whatever we decide to do. And he laughs. He's like, you could never live in that camper. He goes, you didn't last a week. And I was like, I just got bored. Like I had read all my books. It was before like the campground that we primarily go to, it was before they had Wi-Fi. So I was like, okay, I've hiked everywhere. I've biked. I've read all my books.
Now what?
I can't knit or crochet. I'm out.
Hey, there, learn a new hobby. That was actually internet was one of our big things, was trying to come up with that because we don't have typical. You can't call AT&T or whoever to come and run a line. Yeah. So we had to do different things. We had to learn.
What do you guys do for that?
We started out with hotspots.
Okay.
So we bought a hotspot through Verizon, unlimited plan, which lasted us maybe
9 days or so, and it slowed down.
Yeah.
So it's not unlimited.
It was unlimited, but it slowed down to where, I mean, I'm used to uploading a half-hour video, 20 minutes to half-hour video up in about half hour to 45 minutes to upload a video. It took 14 hours. That's how slow it was. So we returned it. We had a return policy. So we took it all back and we found an alternate.
It's still through
plan.
Verizon, but it's a company that deals with like mobile businesses.
Yeah.
And so you pay a higher amount for, it's an actual router, and it's it's got
truly unlimited 5G.
Yeah. True.
Nice.
So we'll see. I mean, it'll work anywhere where Verizon is. So we haven't been anywhere where there's no Verizon. So we'll find out how wonderful it is.
But the main thing is that because we are doing a YouTube channel, the most important thing is that I can upload videos when I'm ready. And that's been, I've been able to do that consistently.
Good.
So
yeah. We talked a little bit earlier, like the whole editing, uploading, downloading. I hate all that. I do it.
Realize how much time it takes.
Oh yeah.
They think, oh, how easy. I can't do it.
I thought I did a video earlier. It was like 45 minutes long. Initial video was 45 minutes long. I cut it down to 25. But it's just like I sliced it and I put words in, and then there's music, and then I did fade in and fade out, and you got to watch it 5 times to make sure you got it the right. And I'm like,
what do you mean 5 times? What are you talking about?
Yeah,
10, 15.
No, I watched that thing.
Oh my god!
From beginning to where I've edited so many times, because it's all about flow when you're telling a story. Yeah. So you want it to flow really well, and you want to make sure you're paying attention to the things that other people might pay attention to. Did I scratch my, what in the middle of the video shot, or pick my nose?
We've actually, we had to edit one of the ones. His sister was digging the wedgie out because we had been bike riding, or we're like, he's laughing. He's like, Sherry, come here and look at this. Should I put this on here? I'm like, send that to your sister. But we we did it real fast through that one. But that was when I moved into the RV. I said, he does this late at night, and I go to bed a lot earlier than, he's up editing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, we need a TV in the bedroom. Our door closes. So I need to be able to get away. And I think that's important too, if you're living in an RV, is to still be able to have like kind of your separate spaces and separate And we don't spend 24/7 together. We could, we've done it. We both were stuck at home for a couple weeks in the beginning of COVID.
Yeah, but I'm type of a person, I really have never been bored in my life. It just seems like there's always something to do, whether I'm putting up a towel holder or adjusting like something in the camper, lubricating something or applying some kind of protectant on the camper, looking at the roof or whatever. Or riding my bicycle or doing something. And I have a hobby. I do radio controlled cars, airplanes, drones, things like that.
Nice.
So I actually have a separate channel for that.
Wow. So do you have a drone that you do all your shots and all that?
Yes, it is still a challenge because there are restricted areas.
Right.
You can't do it in state parks, and then if you're near an airport, we're actually near an airport here, but we're not so close that it's restricted. They just give you a warning when you power up the drone. It warns you you're near an airport. So matter of fact, recently we went to a place, and I was going to shoot some footage and it said restricted area, you can't fly. So I couldn't shoot any aerial photographs.
So like the app or whatever you use tells you it's restricted? Like
it knows
where you're at?
Yeah. The drone knows.
Yeah, it has GPS, high quality GPS, and it's always talking to the internet to let you know where those restricted areas are.
It uses satellites, doesn't it? So the satellites, connects to satellites.
Yeah, it's a very sophisticated drone that actually hooks to multiple satellites. So it hooks to sometimes 14, 15 satellites at a time.
That's too much.
That's cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That is cool though.
I'm scared to fly though. He says I can't crash it, but if it can be crashed, I probably could crash it.
That's exactly why we don't have a drone. I would crash it.
I haven't tried it yet.
That it'd be over. So all your stuff that you tinker with, what would you say is like your top maintenance things that people would need to, especially like weekend people like us, like what are those top things that people need maintenance wise to keep up on?
I think for us, it's monitoring anything that's exposed to the elements.
Okay.
Anything outside, like for instance, our door gets a tremendous amount of sun every day, and the hinges will dry out or start to get surface rust or whatever. So I'm always lubing those things constantly to make sure they don't get any accumulative rust, and they might start. It's a friction hinge, so you can imagine it's tight on the other hinge, so it creates a lot of squeaking and stuff. So you got to constantly lube it, and then of course we need to put ultraviolet protectant on any rubber products. Like we have a slider, and then those seals need to be coated with that protectant so they don't dry out.
That's our job this weekend. It's our 30-day maintenance.
Right. And then the slider has these tracks that you got to get up under there and you got to lube them, so it's something that you have to do all the time. Of course, the normal stuff like draining your tanks is a normal thing. You got to do it all the time.
Checking your roof. And I think with people that go out on weekends, sometimes those things we might put off, but because, you're rushing to get out there and you're rushing to enjoy every and like to capture every last little drop of fun for your weekend.
Yes.
So that's kind of the stuff that can get forgotten to do. The tires, I was going to say, I thought, tires are important, and, we've pulled our cover off before to get ready to go on a trip, and we've pulled the cover off and we had a flat tire. So that's not something you want to discover at, if you're leaving after work.
No.
Yeah.
That stinks.
So we, just like most people would do, we plan several days in advance before we leave what we're going to check, what we're going to do, stock the refrigerator, make sure towels are in the camper. Now that's different that we're full time, but before that's what we would do.
Right.
Now we can't forget anything.
That's great.
Well,
so do you have like a checklist? Like I'm envisioning my OCD is like, oh, you have a checklist, and every month you just run through the checklist.
Yeah, I have a checklist I had a checklist that I converted from tent camping to RV camping because I'm fairly new to RV camping. My first RV was about 2 years ago.
Okay.
And then I had to convert, the tent camp list to an RV camping list. So they are different, but some were the same, like my snorkeling mask, things like that were the same, but some things were great. I mean, it's totally different when you don't have to, like I saw in one of your videos you shared, everything had to go in the bed of the truck. Well, you don't have that problem with an RV. You get to put your pots and pans in the cabinets and they get to stay there.
Yeah, I think you're talking about the stuff that stays and then the stuff that goes, and then your last minute bag. We kind of had the same when we were doing weekend trips. We kind of had the same thing. We would pack up, kind of pack throughout the week, get whatever we could get in there. We would do, when something would pop into your head and you're like, oh, let's not forget this. So we would put things by the door, so that way when we were loading up in those few days before the trip, getting prepped.
Your last minute bag, isn't that what that's called?
Yeah, the last minute bag.
That's exactly. We have one hanging on the back of our door, like our bedroom door right now. And it's random stuff is in there that I'm like, oh, this goes back in the camper.
Yep.
Why is this fork in my drawer? This is a camper fork,
Or the towels. So we would do that too. We would bring, the towels we always kept back in the camper, but of course they're dirty and they need to be washed. So we would bring the towels, back into the house. And so I would put them right back into the little hamper bag, put it right by the door. So we knew, okay, towels have to go back.
I think some of the things that people won't remember are the little things we take for granted that are always in their place, like our toothbrush, toothpaste, our toiletries, those kinds of things that are very easy to just take off and forget.
Pillows.
Pillows, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've done that.
I have the checklist and I told her, we learned this. I had to kind of help her through this. I was like, we don't mark anything off. We don't mark anything off the list till it is in the camper. I don't care if you put it over there. We don't mark it off the list.
My list is here, and apparently it was never good because I'm like, about the salt and pepper.
Yeah. Didn't make it.
How far are we from the store?
Right.
I tend to forget dog food.
Oh, that's important.
I'm like, we've gotten up so many nights. Friday night, we've gone up to the campground, and I'm like, okay, let's feed the dogs. I'm like, oh my god, and I have lists, I make lists, but sure, I'm like, I'm like, there's some in the camper, and then I've got 15 other things going on. I never check because the dogs have their own little cabinet.
Yep.
And so like I never just check, and we'll get up there, and I'm like, I guess you're eating people food all weekend, run to the little gas station, try to get something because I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that's the rule. It doesn't get marked off the list till it is in the camper.
That's
just put aside. Like I'm like, oh, I'll grab that, or
Yes.
Our pillows used to be the big thing.
Yeah, the pillows was their problem.
We could pack everything else the night before. We would even load up our refrigerator the night before because we'd have it plugged in and cold.
Yeah.
So fill up the refrigerator and get all that done. But you can't. You need your pillows the night you're sleeping if you don't have extras.
Yep.
So there were a few times where it was pillows. So
Rusty's glasses. So I have a second set of everything in here. Toothbrushes, glasses. Like my eyes are not that bad. So I have all that stuff in here. But his glasses, like he has to, and it's always, do you have my glasses? Do you have my glasses? Are my glasses in there? And I'm like, yeah, let me check the bag.
So how are you? What is your role when you're let's just say backing in and pulling out and all that? Do you help a whole lot, or because I have one who he does it all and I get in his way, so I kind of stay away.
So, if we go up, so Rusty works nights, and so we haven't camped a ton in the last year, but the times that we've gone up on Saturday morning, and so we'll leave at 2 or 3 o'clock on Saturday morning. That's and great. Get up there at 5 or 6, and we would always go to the same spot because we knew we could get into a site there. So on those trips, I always get out and help him because it's dark. I was telling somebody last night, we actually have this weird flashlight system and don't know how it's other than I got out one time and I'm not going to yell. We're not going to call each other on the phone trying to back in. So he gave me a flashlight and he said, just shine it in my rearview mirror and I'll stop. So I hold the flashlight and he can follow the flashlight back. And then if it's going to hit or whatever, I just shine it really quick and he stops. And then I can run up and be like, okay, you got to go this way or that way.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea.
If it's a normal trip, like a normal Friday night, or we go up during, a couple extra days or whatever, typically I get out, I get the dogs out, and then he does it all.
Yeah.
I just tell Sherry, go back there and make sure I don't hit anything. If I get within 12 inches of anything, we have the little walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
And just say stop.
Yeah.
Because, it is a different language to
Yeah.
tell somebody how to back in.
Yeah, because my left's not his left.
No.
Trailer's left. Yeah, so it can get all kinds of, crazy.
Sometimes I have to stop and think which way. Like when we had a bumper pull camper, I would have to take a second and figure out which way the camper was going to go. With the fifth wheel, with the fifth wheel, it follows you. So it'll follow the truck. So, it's a little easier. He loves it because we've gotten into some pretty tight spots and he's had that truck completely sideways. Underneath, so what are some other things so for people that are going out on the weekends, what are get your maintenance done week ahead of time, get your stuff packed. What about when you get up there? What are some things that you tips or anything like that you guys always do that have made a difference?
I think number one is relax. Relax. I mean, enjoy the drive too, because it's part of your trip, and especially when you're trying to cram so much into a weekend. That 6 hours, the 3 hours there and the 3 hours back for you, 6 hours, that's a huge part of your trip.
Yeah.
So, try to make that part of it fun too.
Yeah. Me growing up, I learned from my dad a bad habit, and that is we got to get there and we're not stopping. We got to get there. And he never watched the world go by. So that's something that watching other people camp or travel, they said, enjoy the trip. While you're on the road, enjoy what you're driving by. So we always like to.
When the trip starts, when you actually leave your driveway.
Right. As soon as you leave, look around, enjoy, and plan to make stops, frequent stops as much as you can, depending on the duration of the trip. Like we did Crooked River State Park right on the Georgia-Florida border. And that was about 3 hours, 3.5 hour trip for us. We drive slower, so it's a little longer than most people. So we stopped 3 times, So every hour we pull off the road to find a rest area and get out, stretch your legs and look, what's at this rest area? What's here? And it was something very nice to do. And of course, it was nice. Now, I remember you talking something about one of your videos about the bathroom. We use the restroom in our camper when we stop.
Oh.
Yeah, we just use our own restroom when we stop. We don't go into.
So we make sure we have water in our fresh tank. Not a ton, but we have water in our fresh tank. Turn on your water pump and
you can flush.
You can flush, yeah.
That's a good point. So we've been married for 13 years. This is how our marriage works. When we're traveling, I hold it because I know how crabby he gets. He has to pull over, and I get it. We are big. When people are like, well, how big? My sister-in-law was asking me last year. We went to Tennessee and we were going through Gatlinburg, through the Smoky Mountain State Park. And she's trying to compare us to the campers that were in there. And she's like, well, are you as big as that? And I just looked at her and I said, we are as big as a semi.
Right.
Well, think of an 18-wheeler. We are that big. And she's like, oh, okay. So I have to consciously remember, he doesn't want to pull this whole rig over.
Yeah.
But Rusty will get out, pull over and go on the side of the road. And I'm like, gotta go.
Yeah.
Go
in that RV.
Yeah. Our only thing is so we have the Mow Ride steps on our camper that fold up into the door. Yeah. It's open the door, pull the steps all the way down.
Those are nice steps though.
Oh my God, they're amazing.
Yeah, they're nice steps.
They're so great.
Now ours aren't like that. They just fold up three steps. It's one.
They're good,
two,
but they're not. Yeah, but that's an upgrade that we could
And I
definitely.
lube the steps constantly. That way, when you flip it, they all go bloop, bloop, bloop. They come right out, and you can
Oh,
get it real
nice.
quick. Yeah.
So the more rides, do you get dirt and stuff inside your RV?
Yes, and
Because I
we
feel
get
like
it.
that's the one downside to them.
Yeah, yes, and the so like we still have the old steps. They're still under there. Um, and then this was just like an added feature, you know. And I'm sure it's gotten better. Like our campers are 2017, so it was right when those steps first came out. And we had them specially put on this camper. So it's just like a accessory add-on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so there's not really any flow to it, but there's like a little crack between the seal of the door and the flap of the steps, and there's always dirt in there.
Mm-hmm.
I get my little vacuum out and I get in there and have to get it all. But yeah, that's the one downside is anything that's on the steps, it folds up and goes right in your camper.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and dirt. I mean, it
And
just
dirt.
seems to magnify in a camper anyway. Like the sand and the grit and grime.
Yeah. Well, thinking about sand, that's something that is something we have to do almost on a daily basis is sweep our floor because
Yeah.
we live in here. We're not just walking in, taking our shoes off all the time. We just sometimes you just come in. So, we got to sweep the floor a lot more often. It's a small area. So we're not going through a whole house to where we have distributed our droppings on our feet everywhere in the house versus we just got one run right through our camper.
But cleaning is quick.
Yeah.
It's very quick.
Now, do you have a vacuum or do you sweep?
Sweep and a
Okay.
swiffer. We do have like a little mini vacuum like that we can use.
A hand one for stuff on shelves. Like when I was drilling something and the sawdust comes down, I used the little hand vac.
Nice.
Like that was something that we changed in our closet. The curtain, what is it called? The clothes rod, the hanger rod.
Hanger.
We needed to raise it up some. So that was something I had to do was raise because I'm like, you got 8 inches here that we could get our
wonder
clothes
what
higher.
they're thinking sometimes when they're making these campers. We don't have a whole lot of complaints. It's very minor things, but really, I mean, we just had to go up a couple inches.
I had to go up a few inches and get us enough room to where I could put some clothes underneath my hanging shirts.
So
the bad thing that I hate, and I know we've mentioned this, like, is the people that build the campers and sell the campers aren't actually campers. We were watching
a lot of them aren't.
What?
A lot aren't. You're right. A lot.
We were watching a YouTube video stream one day, and they walked us through. It might have been I know it was a Keystone plant, but they were making I think the Cougars fifth wheels, and so we were watching it and watching them come off the line. And the guy's like, "Oh yeah, once a year we have these guys go out, and if they want to go camping, they can." I'm like, once a year?
Right.
They're the ones putting them together. They're the ones designing them.
Yeah.
Live in the sucker,
Yeah, we had a couple of small issues with this brand new trailer, and they were small, like some water was leaking out of a couple of fittings.
Mm-hmm.
We had water on the floor, and like, why is there water on the floor? And it just, the fitting's a little loose. So small things like that, nothing major. We didn't have a toilet overflow or flood the whole camper, but when you're mass producing anything, depends on the day. It depends on their attitude on that day, how they do their job.
Yeah. And no matter how many quality control checks you have, they're still going to slip through. I mean, I think they roll some of the plants will roll off 22, 23 in a day. It's just
crazy numbers.
Yeah.
Well, we're really happy with our RV, and the reason we did buy this brand is because we did do a lot of research on the customer service and how many problems they have with these campers and the quality of what they're installing, and we found it to be superior than any other brand that we've seen, other than one brand that they only sell them up north because they use them in harsh conditions. Other than that, we feel like Grand Design makes a superior product. And we were looking at
At least for
Forest River.
travel.
We were looking at Forest River, and we really liked it. But when we come into the Grand Design line, we were blown away by the quality.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the way we went. And we got the entry level camper because we got size versus amenities and luxury items.
Mm.
We have a big camper for our price. So we're right around $20,000 compared to the next line up is 10,000 more for a 20-foot camper.
And also, when we bought this, we didn't think we were going to live in it.
True.
Yeah. We bought this for our camper.
Yeah.
For vacations and trips and all of that fun stuff. So, I mean, it's worked out really well, though.
Yeah, it works. So what's the most favorite place that you've gone to?
The Keys.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's the Keys.
Yeah, Bahia Honda State Park is probably the most sought after campground because of its cost. It's a state park, so the prices are always reasonable. They're usually hovering around $38 a night.
Wow.
And in the Keys. So
you can get waterfront,
right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes. So you can literally snorkel off your campsite.
Now, but how far in advance does that book out?
Well, we book 11 months out.
Yeah.
And we are sitting there at 8:00 in the morning doing,
Yes, and it doesn't always happen.
No.
Okay.
And so when we camp and we do that, we're with all his siblings.
Okay.
And so we're all sitting there with him on Messenger, like, okay, I'm going for this site. And we all have the countdowns on our phone, and boom, we have an account. I would try, he would be in one room trying, I'm in the other room trying. So each couple, multiple people trying to do this. And, all of a sudden one person would go, woohoo, got it. Everybody else is like,
nope,
dang it. Nope.
Didn't get it.
So we used to do that. There's a couple places, like we would do a yearly trip with every, different groups or whatever. And so, we're on at 11:59 p.m. and we're booking the sites. And then, and most of the time that happens like around, like a lot of the state parks up here will do like a Halloween thing, or, if there's certain, like our friends, Luke and Christy, that are on here tonight, like we go a specific time with them. So we get on so we can make sure we get that site. But one year we found out we had a heck of a time trying to get a spot for a Halloween thing. And we overheard this lady talking, and she booked 30 sites.
Wow.
And we were like, what? But what she did is she booked 14 days early from the day she was leaving.
Yeah.
Don't tell anybody.
I know. Like,
when you cancel
Great.
That's just between us.
Yeah, because I remember, before I met Sherry, camping in the Keys, we're like, we see the same people at the same area, and how do they get in the sites? And they're not telling. And it took us years to figure it out. And now we're on these Bahia Honda Facebook pages, and I'm telling my sisters, don't tell them
the secret
how to do it.
That's okay. Everybody just found out the secret. That's how you do it. It's those coveted spots.
It's not even that easy. You can be there at the right time and hit the button. And
you know what? And it still doesn't work. Like
that's what usually we do. We usually try to book for 2 weeks at a time. And we just sometimes, we end up canceling it. Yeah, we end up dropping a week because we might book it. We might try for 3 or 4 days in a row, and we might get it on day 2. And but half of his family, they're still looking.
Right.
So then we're still going. And so on day 3, no luck. And then day 4, oh, wow. Robert and I both have a site. So now we've actually booked all these extra sites. We actually have a week extra right now in the Keys that we have to dump because of doing that. We've got 3 weeks in a row booked. And so we have 1 week that
But it's no different than trying to book anything else.
No.
It's like, you just gotta, we just got on and we booked next weekend at one of our favorite spots. And then Rusty's I think he's going to come off nights tomorrow night. And he's like, he's been on it for 13 months. He's like, I think I'm going to take a week. And I was like, that's I'm
Good.
cool with that. Take a week, like just regroup, And he goes, what if we go up early? And I said, yeah, that's fine. I work from home, not a big deal. Just need a signal. And I got on, and our site has us reserved Friday, but won't let me book Tuesday or Wednesday. It's
Mhm.
restricted. And I'm like, well, nobody's there.
Yep.
I'm like, you know what? I'll just call. I'll call them tomorrow and try to get in there. Because we know the gate people, of course. We go there all the time. We know the gate people, so
Yeah.
we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I have a brother who works with a person who owns a campground.
Oh.
Yeah, so we have a little bit of an end there, and then I had this great idea. I'm thinking, I got all these siblings. And I put it out there on our messenger. Why don't we all pitch in and buy a campground as a family?
Right.
Nobody answered, so I guess it's not going to happen.
It's funny you say that because
campground, you sell the campers.
Yeah.
We got it.
You got it. So I didn't grow up camping. Rusty's entire family camps, like both sides, like dad, cousins, great aunts and uncles, they all camp. And we'll be sitting around with them, and they're like, somebody should buy a campground. And I'm like, yeah, somebody should. And then all at us, and we're like, no.
Somebody should.
Yeah. And now we're at a point, I just look back at them, I'm like, are you investing? You get to hand over that retirement check? And they're like, no. I'm like, not gonna happen. Sorry about that. And it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot. We know people that have them, that have campgrounds, and we're kind of spoiled with the state parks and all that, and Corps of Engineer parks, that they're just nice. They're paved. They're beautiful. And then you go to some of these private parks that are more expensive, and they're gravel, and you are, and I'm like,
or the ones that just look like a parking lot.
That are a parking lot. Yeah.
There's nothing. It's just rows. Yeah. There's not a whole lot of enjoyment. I mean, you have to be going there to go see something else, not at the park. We like to go on walks, and we like the nature, and we like to do the.
Yeah. That's a good thing about the state park.
Yeah. State parks.
The state parks are so beautiful in Florida. You can't go wrong in Florida with a state park. And by comparison, in the Keys, there's the southernmost KOA.
Yeah.
And you can barely open your awning without hitting the other camper. That's how close you are. You're almost bumper to bumper parked next to each other. I'm like, no, I don't want to wake up and see my neighbor brushing his teeth.
Nope.
No. So
state parks all the way.
State parks all the way. Love it.
We have not done the Army Corps of Engineers yet.
I would say we do those. We probably do those more than state parks, because there's a ton of them here in Missouri. But I think state parks are just, people are always, they're like, where should we go? Where should we go? And I'm like, do you have kids? They're like, yes. I'm like, state parks. Because the state parks here, they will have activities for the kids. Most of the time, like if you get up to any of our state parks on a Friday night, the ranger is walking around. She's like, these are the activities for the weekend. Here's coloring books for the kids. It's like,
oh yeah, they make it more.
That's the way to go.
Now that you mentioned that, I would think one campground would be one of those once in a lifetime things that you must do if you have children, would be Fort Wilderness and Disney.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Because there is so much going on.
Not just if you have kids.
You can't do it all. There's just so much going on. Every night they have a campfire with the s'mores, and they have characters come out. Chip and Dale. They come out.
Wow.
And it's beautiful. It's just wonderful.
Yeah. They're bathhouses. I mean, are Disney bathhouses.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you gotta have a card.
They don't like lose any of their, just because it's a campground. It's Disney.
It's Disney all the way.
It's Disney all the way.
Wow, that's awesome. That is cool for because it can be expensive to stay at some of those resorts. And
I would, and these aren't cheap either. But if you're gonna do it,
it's cheaper than a resort.
It is. Yeah,
it's cheaper than a resort, but it's hard to get in.
Yeah,
very hard to get in. But they do have they have a boat parade or some kind of parade on the water, so you can go down at night at the edge of the water at the
You
beach
can watch the
and
fireworks.
watch the parade go, and they do fireworks.
You can watch the
every
fireworks
night.
at the park from the
Oh,
park
wow.
there. Yeah.
So it's one of those things you want to do if you've never done it.
If you've never done it. Yeah.
Yeah. And if
so
you're
bring
an
your
adult,
fifth wheel and
if you're an adult, you don't have kids, and you like the theme parks, then it's an advantage too, because you can be right there on Disney property. And if you're staying on Disney property, you can get fast passes to rides 60 days in advance versus everybody else has to wait 30 days.
Yeah. Little perk.
Yes.
Little perk. So if you ever decide to do Disney, let us know.
I don't know. We're so not Disney people.
There you
Rusty
go.
is not a crowd person. There is probably one kid in the entire world that would get him to go Disney. And that's our good friends. They have a 3-year-old, and she has both Rusty and I wrapped around her finger. Whatever she wants, she gets.
Mhm.
So I'm pretty sure if she came and said, you know, Russ, I want to go to Disney, will you take me? The truck would be started. You know, he would go. He would hate every minute of it.
Yep.
He would go.
Go in the winter.
Yeah.
It's better. You know, go January, February.
Yeah, go in the winter. It's hot.
Not in July or
It's
August.
hot.
Yeah. We rarely camp in the summer because he just gets so hot. He gets hot. We have the St. Bernard. That dog gets hot. You know, it's too much.
Well, the thing about Florida, which is nice, is if you can go to the springs, the springs are cold.
Yeah.
So you jump in the spring.
5 degrees, I believe.
Oh, it's
something
cold.
like that.
Yeah. So when we were doing plenty, and you'll see in some of our videos that when you get on a raft, you float downstream, you get hot, or you get in a kayak and you're paddling, you get hot, just jump in the water and then jump back out, and you're nice and cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
trips.
Do what?
Our next couple trips, we will be going into the springs. Yeah, we'll be doing springs trips.
So do you have kayaks and do all that?
Yeah, we have a tandem kayak and we have rafts.
Very cool.
Yes.
Kudos to you with the tandem kayak, man.
Yeah, somebody told us that's what they call that, the divorce maker, or
yeah, they said if your woman can go on a kayak with you, she's a keeper.
We've never had any problems.
No, we kayak very well together.
That's great because I've kayaked a lot. Rusty has not, so I could just see us fighting. Like, you're not paddling right. What are you doing? I'm gonna be in the back. Just wouldn't go over well.
In the back, I'm in the front.
Yeah.
I joke around all the time that I'm in the front so that way he can just sit back and take video and he can photograph everything. And I'm like the one that's like, look, are you actually paddling back there?
He's like, I got the drone. It's got us going.
Awesome. Yeah, that's it. That's what we need to do. But yeah, he usually is working. It's not just me.
Yeah.
The joke is, and his sister, when they go, they have a double too. And it's funny because he always is in the back and she's always in the front. And so I've watched the videos and I'm like, Michael's just leaning back and looking around and he's not doing. Kathy, she's just paddling away.
Oh, that's great.
Men have it figured out.
Yeah, I'm sure they love you videoing all that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm editing a video right now for Rock Springs in Florida that will have plenty of video of my brother sitting back while his wife is paddling. It's coming up soon, probably.
All right, I'm gonna check that one out. But well, thank you guys so much. I just wanted to jump on. I mean, the whole point of this was just to jump on, get to know some other people in the camping community. Obviously, you've got the YouTube, we've got the YouTube. We're just promoting each other and just get to know great people.
I want to see that shirt.
Oh yeah, this is just our logo on the front.
Is that your social distancing one?
Yeah. So it's on the back.
Okay.
I'm gonna look at that. Yeah. I like that.
In one of our videos, we were kayaking and we came across a boat. The name of the boat was Social Distancing.
That was the name of the boat.
Yeah. You guys posted that video, didn't you?
Yeah. I was like, when we were going by it in the kayak, I'm like, babe, look at the name on that boat. And this was like in the very kind of maybe 2 or 3
beginning.
weeks into the actual,
Yeah.
lockdown. And I'm like, that can't be. I mean, how is that?
The wife probably cut it out on her Cricut. They just put it on the box.
That would have been funny. Yeah. Like I would have planned.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for jumping on. It's been fun. I loved getting to know you. And if we do head down to Florida, we'll definitely hit you guys up.
Yeah, we'll hit you up if we head up there. I'd love to see it up there.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, I can see the trees behind you.
Oh, this is my driveway.
Nice. Can we mooch stock?
Yeah, you can come mooch stock. You just plug it right to the house.
Yeah, we can come mooch stock. You can come here and mooch stock, except it's not our house to mooch at.
Wouldn't that be something? Hey, some people from Missouri are going to come. They're going to stay on your property.
They wouldn't care.
They would.
They got an acre.
Yeah, they wouldn't care. They'd be like, oh, the more people, the better.
Right. Awesome.
Well, it was great to get to know you.
Yeah, you guys as well. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks.
Talk soon.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.